So what you want to start doing is taking the pre-made pie crust and opening them, and that is what I'm doing right now. I needed a little assistance. Once you have them opened, you want to flour your surface so that the dough does not stick to the counter or wherever you are rolling. Make sure you have enough. Get some on your hands as well. You want to unroll the pie crust. Depending on what kind of brand you have, I had to let mine sit out for about 10 to 15 minutes because it was in the fridge. So you just lay that baby right down and you get her floured. You take your handy dandy rolling pin and you roll it out to about the thickness that you want the Pop-Tart. You don't want it too thick and you don't want it too thin, so about 1/8 of an inch is pretty good. And you want to make sure that when you're rolling, you never roll in the same direction more than once, or it becomes kind of uneven. And you don't kind of want that because you want your Pop-Tarts to be even and delicious. So what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting the sides so I can actually have the shape, but with the excess that I'm having right now, I'm saving so I can re-roll it out to make even more Pop-Tarts. So I'm cutting down. As you can tell, I don't know what half is or a third. So one side is bigger. Then you cut it in half. So you have 2 pieces for your Pop-Tart. Take your pan, a non-stick pan, you place them right on there, and you can save them for a little bit while we do the next step. So this is my excess right now. I redid it and I'm trying to roll it back out. As you can see, I have little pockets and stuff, so I'm trying my best to get it as even as possible. Reshaping it, you might have to do it a couple of times, but just be patient. And again, I'm cutting the excess off so that I have an even Pop-Tart shape and that it's square or rectangular. I mean, these are homemade, honestly, so they don't need to be very, very perfect and identical. I mean, I don't think anyone is going to say anything if one Pop-Tart is bigger than the other. So now onto the filling. If you have a fruit jam, like I have a strawberry jelly right here, you are going to take the jelly and place it right in a pot. We're going to heat it. So right now, if you were to put the jelly into the Pop-Tart and bake it, all of the jelly would expand and it would just heat and all of it would come out to the sides. So what we want to do right now is kind of thicken it. So you take this whole little jar, or as much as you really think you're going to need for your Pop-Tarts, as much as you're making. And what I'm doing right here is taking some cornstarch. Yes, I have a really weird container for it, but don't judge me. I'm taking about 2 tablespoons, I say. Just place it right into the jam. And next, we are going to grab your handy dandy water. So right there, I have about a 1/4 of the cup, and you just place it right in there, stir the baby up, get it all mixed, get it all, make sure, yeah, right there, you don't want that. So you want to try to get it, right here I'm showing you how it's heating and how it's getting a little thick. You want it to get bubbles. Here I'm whisking 1 egg for the egg wash, so that we can put it inside and on the outside of our Pop-Tarts so they're glossy and shiny. So here you can see my jelly is thickened, and I'm gonna make a Nutella Pop-Tart. You don't have to make it any thicker than it already is, so you just have to make the jelly a little bit thicker than it was. Take your handy dandy egg wash, and you egg wash one side. I was supposed to do it in sections, and you were supposed to put it around and leave a little section out, but you know, I forgot, so I did the whole thing. Then you take your filling, whichever you'd like, and you want to leave a little border around the sides because you don't want it to leak out too much. So if you see, I'm leaving a little border around my jam, and I wouldn't put too much. I would put about maybe a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons max, because you don't want any of that jelly running out on your pan. So here I'm filling the rest of my little Pop-Tarts, get them all nice and filled. Like I said, make sure you leave a border because once you seal it, everything, that little pocket is just gonna be warm and goodness, and just everything you kind of look in what you want for a Pop-Tart. So you finish them all up. Next, you place the top right on top. Try to make them as symmetrical as possible so you don't have any excess. And what I'm doing here with a fork is just crimping. So you literally just put the fork down in and it'll press down, creating a little border for you. So none of your filling or anything like that will come out. And this really helps with the baking process, so you don't really have to worry about cleaning much up from the pan because this just seals everything up for you. And you just do it to the following ones that you had made, crimping them on all 4 sides, making sure that you don't kind of cut into the Pop-Tart, but you just kind of press down a little lightly so it's just sealed for you. Here, this is the correct way to do your Pop-Tart. You create a little border so that the egg wash secures your filling, and this is what I'm doing to the rest of the Pop-Tarts. It doesn't really need to go on the top part, but you can do so if you'd like. It didn't really hurt my other Pop-Tarts. So in the little other sections, I'm going to place my Nutella right into the middle where I left no egg wash. Nutella is kind of sticky, so try not to get it everywhere, but also leaving a border again so that it does not just run off to the pan. And I sealed those up, and I'm just placing an egg wash right on top so you get that glossy look. And I place them in the oven. The package said 450, but just follow directions on yours. And this is how they came out. If you can see, there's some jelly that came out. It's fine. Placing these on a cooling rack to cool for about 5 to 10 minutes. So while you're doing that, you place them all evenly so they all have their own space, time, whatever they need just to be perfect. So meanwhile, while they dry, or not dry, while they cool, you are going to make the icing. So this is just powdered sugar. I'm taking about maybe 2 teaspoons of the jam, and I'm just gonna mix it together. And here you can use water, but I used milk. And it's honestly, there's not really measurements, but you just add a little bit at a time until you get the consistency that you want. So for these Pop-Tarts, I wanted something for a thick consistency so it wouldn't run off the Pop-Tart, but it would stick just enough so it would dry. So if you see right here, it's kind of thin, so I had to add some more powdered sugar. You just add and go as you please, you know. If it's too thin, you add some more powdered sugar. If it's too thick, you add more milk. And here, I just added a little jelly. It's really up to you, but I did it just for some color. It's kind of like a pinky hue, so Here it's still a little thin, so I add some more powdered sugar. Who doesn't love sugar? Also, if you're not looking to make anything sweet, I'm sorry, but these are very sweet. I mean, if you're looking to get a Pop-Tart, you're asking for something sweet, so be prepared. So what I'm doing now, they cooled for a few minutes. I'm gonna place my frosting right on top. I mean, I was very conservative with it because I already know the filling is sweet, but you can spread it all over the place if you need or if you want to. Also, I didn't sprinkle any sprinkles on top, but it's very optional for you. You can put sprinkles like the original Pop-Tarts, but I just didn't feel it was necessary. On to the chocolate frosting. So the same thing I did here, but now I wanted a little chocolate taste, so I put some cocoa powder. Also, I put about 2 teaspoons as well. And again, you just add a little bit of milk. You stir, see the consistency, add some more. Stir, stir, stir. Lots of stirring here. It takes a lot of arm strength, I'm telling you now. So it is a little thin, so I add some powdered sugar. Make sure it's all combined. And here we go, it's still a little thin, and boom, that's where a lot came out. So I was working with it. I was kind of scared, but you know, we had to go with the flow. So I'm making everything combined so there's no just white sprinkles everywhere in my frosting, and mixing it all through. I actually found out that it was actually the perfect consistency, so that spill was actually very helpful. So you place it right on top of the Pop-Tart. Like I said, you can decide how much frosting you really want on there. You can layer it up if you're a sweet person, or you can put a little less if you feel the need, but try to do it as nice as possible. I mean, like I said, these are homemade Pop-Tarts, so they don't need to be super perfect because no one is going to judge you if your frosting is running a little bit. So continue to do this to the rest of your Pop-Tarts. Make sure everything looks nice and neat. And make sure it's kind of like an even coating because one side may be a little bigger. But this is my final product. I have the strawberry on the left and the chocolate on the right. Like I said, you could use sprinkles, but it's honestly up to you what you want to do. And this is the final product. So I hope you guys enjoy and make it yourself.